Romania has the worst record for unfair trials in the European Union.
Well, I suppose it's good to be the best at something. Amnesty International says Romania's record on implementing judgments is amongst the poorest in the EU. That confuses me. Isn't Amnesty International always meant to be on the side of the poorest? The UK court refused a Romanian businessman's extradition to Romania, the first time an EU member state was denied because its legal system was deemed unfair. To put it succinctly, Romania has an awful track record in terms of people getting a fair trial. You know that when the UK decides someone can't get a fair trial in your country, that your country is in trouble. That's the UK, the place when a few weeks ago this happened.
This is a case about a man who was guilty until proven innocent.
That's the UK, the only place in the world that ruled against Johnny Depp in a court case against Amber Heard. That's how bad the UK is, and Romania is worse! A lawyer will always tell you to say nothing to the police or authorities unless you really have to, as it will never help your case but could be used by the prosecution against you. Andrew Tate has been doing all these massive, full-on interviews everywhere. Now in a minute I will show you examples of what he has said in those interviews that could be used by the prosecution to convict him. Media manipulation, or as I like to call it, the Lucy Williamson BBC interview. Whatever you think of Andrew Tate, the takeaway from this interview was what an ass Lucy was. It's a train wreck interview. She had this prime opportunity to grill him, but instead committed self-immolation. Her self-immolation was poor preparation, awful questions, stupid gotcha tactics, and a complete misunderstanding of who Andrew Tate, the person she was interviewing, was. And she kept trying to catch Andrew out, but hadn't prepared, hadn't brought receipts, and worst of all, seemed content to scoff and pretend to misunderstand what Andrew Tate was saying. This made me think the ass Lucy was being was the butthead from Beavis and Butthead.
What you've found are clips from the internet, some text from the internet.
Texts. Sounds like sex. Sex clips from the internet.
That's very upsetting. And the reason that's very upsetting is because I know that's not true. I'm genuinely a good person. I believe my impact on the world is positive.
So what you're saying is, you hope you have a negative impact on the world and you hate all chicks. Chicks? Sounds like dicks. Sex clips of chicks.
Lucy repeatedly accused Andrew of being manipulative and being harmful to people. Lucy sent Andrew the interview questions and then asked completely different ones, trying to catch him out. I've presented a weekly London radio show for just over 6 years. I interview people who work in the arts. Some of the bigger names might want the questions beforehand. If that's the case, then those are the questions. If you want a free rein, you tell them beforehand and they can agree or disagree to do the interview, anything else, and you are a weasel. She also took out of context quotes from old videos. She framed her opinions as facts. She wouldn't let him answer questions she actually asked him. Now Andrew Tate is facing a court case where he may go to jail for a long time, and she's conducting an interview like this, and she calls him manipulative and potentially harmful. Lucy Williamson is the Amber Heard of journalism. Just look in the mirror and accuse others of whatever is reflected back.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Wall sounds a bit like ball. Who in this land is the most manipulative and potentially harmful of them all?
It's you, Lucy.
Are you sure it's not Andrew Tate?
Well, I've not got him on my list. But worse than that, the worst thing, worse than her weaseling, worse than the contempt and the hatred in her face, was at the end refusing to shake Andrew's hand. Shame on the BBC. You don't send someone with no emotional control to an interview like this. Well, okay, so it's the BBC, and I suppose the BBC don't really have a great track record, do they? I mean, for 20 years, they paid Jimmy Savile to put small children onto his knee. So I guess they've always been alright with their interviewers trying to fuck their guests. I said we'd come back, and now we're back. If you are facing a court case, as I said, you should never be doing interviews. Your words can only be used against you. Whether you love or you hate Tate, he is in a totally unfair situation. If he does the correct thing for his court case, he does no interviews. And then everyone's just going to presume he's guilty. So he has to talk. But then that puts his court case in jeopardy. Every interview, every word could be used against him. Here is one example. He says that when he was making his older videos, he wasn't so well known, so he was freer, and he didn't have to worry so much about the content being potentially misunderstood. Now, he would be more careful. And then when he was pressed on this by numerous interviewers, he said that what he would do now is he would do some things differently. Not that he was wrong, or that what he had said in the past he didn't agree with, just that he would have phrased things differently or made the jokes or the points clearer. In court, the context doesn't matter. Now the prosecution can ask him,
Is it fair to say there are videos and comments that you have made in the past that you would not make today?
If Andrew says no, they have numerous interviews with Piers Morgan, Lucy's one, and countless others, showing him saying otherwise, so he's shown to the jury as being inconsistent. And if Andrew says yes, they have the jury thinking he's made many mistakes he is now backtracking on. The Romanian Justice Department have been meticulous in trying to convict Tate, so they will be scouring each and every interview he does. Each time a new video goes up, they'll be poring over its contents, like that crazy girlfriend you broke up with, and then 2 months later, you found her rummaging through your bins. If you want to subscribe, it would be amazing, really help the channel out. But you can also go on to buymeacoffee.com, and on there we've got stuff for sale. You can give donations, but you can also join up, subscribe over there, and you get exclusive content not available on YouTube, and any of that would be absolutely amazing and really would help the channel out. But let's get back to this video. It will be around 2 years before the trial starts. 2 years. 2 years. He'll lose 2 years of freedom even if he's innocent. How is that fair? It wouldn't be the worst idea for him just to leave the country. Normally, I'd say the other EU countries maybe would not allow extradition, but may act differently if they're ruling on Andrew Tate, and not someone who is not Andrew Tate. 2 refused extraditions from the UK to Romania, and there are heaps and heaps and heaps of other examples of the UK not extraditing to Romania. Greece refused extradition, Denmark, Abu Dhabi, and so many other countries. Why should he run? The extraditions are largely based on flagrant denial of justice, i.e., the other countries deem that trials in Romania are often inherently unfair. Yes, running will make Tate look guilty, and he seems the sort to stay and fight, but I guess he's just a better man than me. I'd rather look guilty and not lose 2 or 3 years of my life. I'd be like this. The top reason why Andrew Tate will end up in jail is that after all this palaver, it would be embarrassing for Romania if Andrew Tate doesn't get convicted. Now that's scary. We have a situation where they're not looking to serve justice, but to save face. If they have evidence and can convict him, that will be a win-win for Romania. But what if there isn't any convincing evidence? If Tate goes free, that's a loss. But if they can convict him anyway, then that's a win. Not quite a win-win, but still a win, and a win is better than a loss. So those are my 5 reasons why Andrew Tate will be going to jail. What do you think? let me know in the comments below any reasons you think he will or will not be going to jail. I'd love to hear them, and I will respond to every comment. I hope Tate receives fair justice, and after the fact he receives fair treatment, whatever that may be. If he's not guilty, then maybe the BBC, Lucy, should apologise. I mean, come on, Lucy. You can't go into an interview and keep putting the ball away.
Andrew Tate. With you, it's all manipulation.
And then get outsmarted and proved wrong, and then not apologise. Anyway, Lucy Williamson, for your bad interview technique, for putting up an edited version of the interview, thinking it'd make you look good but you still looked awful in it, you are my second Idiots of the Internet. We have a real series dropping soon called Idiots of the Internet, so do check that out. Do subscribe, buy stuff on buymeacoffee.com, send me your sister's phone number, and all of that sort of nonsense.